Right, so we've been joined by the program director of Star Ghana, Ibrahim Tanko Amidu. We've been talking about, Star Ghana. We've been reviewing some of the stories that we've been doing as a result of, Mission Ghana, which is supported by Star Ghana with funding from UK Aid, EU, and Danida. Now, this morning, the program director himself has joined us. Tanko, good morning.
Good morning, Chief.
How's it going?
Well, by God's grace.
And how's Star Ghana 2 doing?
Well, Star Ghana, I think, is doing quite well.
Tell me, what's changed about Star Ghana 1 and what's unique about Star Ghana 2?
Well, several changes at the programmatic level. The focus is no longer on just health and education. The focus now is on governance, good governance at local and national levels. Phase 1 focus on citizens' access to quality social services, particularly health and education. Phase 2 is looking at the broader issues around governance.
And those broader issues that you talk around governance, what are some of them that you really would want to follow up on?
Well, we're looking at the quality of citizens' participation. So the district assembly elections are coming on very soon, and we're looking at how do we support citizens to be more actively engaged? How do we get greater women's participation in governance? How do we support Parliament to be more representative of our issues and needs and engage more effectively with the executive? How do we support citizens to hold executive to account? Those are the kind of areas that we are looking at.
Talking about accountability and talking about responsiveness. Of course, Star Ghana is strengthening transparency, accountability, and responsiveness in Ghana.
Yes.
Great. So let's look at the responsiveness of duty bearers in relation to education and health. How would you assess that?
Well, I think there has been some improvements, obviously, but from the evidence we are gathering from the Mission Ghana programs, you realize that the other half of this country, those particularly in the rural areas, the situation is still quite bad. And so there needs to be, a lot more needs to be done in order to ensure that citizens living, particularly in the deprived areas of this country, have access to quality health and education. A lot more needs to be done.
Yeah, talking about a lot more needing to be done, I mean, from where you sit and the analysis you make and the reports you read, do you think we're doing that following, the exposing of these stories? Do you think anything has been done about it?
Well, we've seen packets of change, but we haven't seen the kind of change at this on a significant scale that would turn things around. Of course, we have policies like the free SHS, etc., coming in. But I think that you take Mission Ghana, for example, TV3 is doing well, telling the untold stories. I think others need to take up these stories and use that as the basis for advocacy for changes. Because you can have TV3 alone telling the stories and then again going to engage Parliament or the Ministry of Education or Ministry of Health on what they need to do. So others also need to step up to the plate and then pick up from where you have left off and then continue with it. And
so far, you think that is not being done?
It's being done, but not at the scale that would dramatically change things. If you look at the education and health outcomes, we still have a lot to do. And so Star Ghana, for example, is providing direct support to the health and education committees of Parliament to enable these committees follow up on stories such as what is emerging from the Mission Ghana, but also other stories of poor quality health and education services.
I'm interested in the follow-up bit, because you're assisting Parliament, and so that assistance that you've provided for Parliament, for instance, I believe you're monitoring and evaluating, the work of Parliament. How well are they doing this?
Well, with phase 2 of Star Ghana, we're just about signing the agreement with Parliament. So that hasn't really started in phase 2. But phase 1, I think it went quite well because we supported the committee not only to go around, but to begin to interrogate budget allocations. So when the finance minister goes to read the budget, how much goes to health, how much goes to education? With what goes to education, how much actually translates into direct services to children and how much goes to overhead costs and etc. So I think that went quite well under Star Ghana 1, and we hope to pick up on that and follow up. We also need citizens associations, not just the NGOs that we know of, but even at the local level, that we have CSOs stepping up and also beginning to advocate for changes. It takes two to tango. It takes the duty bearers, but also takes communities to change the situation that we have, particularly around health and education.
Some have argued, they say, well, I mean, many of the advocacy, so yes, we advocate, we bring the issues out, then we go to sleep, and it becomes same old story, and we are just interested in exposing and not necessarily solving it.
Yeah. No, I do agree that, yes, it does happen, which is why I said it's almost like a chain. Each actor has a role to play. So Star Ghana, for example, is providing the funding, the support to, diverse actors. TV3 is going beyond or outside the urban areas to pick up these stories and, disseminate them, bring them to our notice. Others along that chain also need to step up and pick it up. That's what I mean, that we need to work more purposively together. So we take an issue and then follow that through to the end. So let's say, for example, the other day there was an issue about a community where the teachers were non-existent. It came up. We all said, this bad, this, etc. Who else needs to step up to the plate to ensure that not just that particular community, but that children all over this country have access to the kind of education that will make them productive citizens of Ghana?
Okay. But talking about, all of the exposing some of these the challenges that people go through, there's a school of thought that thinks that, well, this is making, officialdom look unpopular. What do you say to that?
I think there's a saying that if your mom is dead and then you claim that she's sleeping, you are the one who will sleep hungry. If whether you talk about it or not doesn't change the situation on the ground. That's the first thing. So whatever is being shown is a reflection of the reality on the ground. The second is that this program started, I think, around 2012. It's been running up till 2018. So it is not targeted at a particular group of, a regime, for example, so to speak. In terms of duty bearers, there are countless examples of duty bearers who have actually been able to get additional support as a result of the situation on the ground being aired. I remember Bongo, where there was the case of furniture, school without furniture. After the program was aired, benefactors came forward, provided furniture. I've heard of a situation in the Wa West district, I think, where, the district assembly and the Ministry of Health stepped in when there was a broadcast about Chiefs Compound. So if you're a duty bearer and you think that it will make you unpopular and therefore you don't want to cooperate, then you would live with that. But the unfortunate thing is that it's not just the duty bearer alone who will suffer, but that you have women and children particularly also suffering that neglect.
So what's the way forward for Star Ghana too?
Well, we would continue to work with all stakeholders, promote transparency and accountability. We're also working to turn Star Ghana from being a donor program to being a national organization. So Star Ghana will be a national organization that would raise funds from all kinds of sources and use that to support and promote sustainable development in Ghana. What
kind of sources are we looking at here?
Well, for example, you might decide that every month you would give us 5% of your salary.
That wouldn't be bad at all.
Not at all. Yeah. But we're just looking at diverse, from the donors, from, philanthropists, from corporates, from individuals, whatever. That's what we're aiming to do, because these donors are phasing out, but the problems are not phasing out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Ibrahim Tanko Amidu, thank you very much for joining us. Anything you want to say finally?
Well, thank you very much. And I think the partnership with TV3 has shown what can happen, what is possible when you have the media working hand in hand with civil society to address national problems.
Thank you very much. That's the program director of Star Ghana, Ibrahim Tanko Amidu, joining us this morning right here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. 3FM